Okay, let's start. So the last lecture we learned HTML. Probably, hopefully you have done something at home. I'm not sure. HTML is not that hard. You just have to write some tags and then you will remember them. Like you don't have to memorize how to write a UL tag or how to write the H5 tag, etc. But as long as you write it, you will remember it. And it's not a problem that if you want to search on the internet, let's say I want to learn how to create table with HTML, then you will have a lot of resources. Most of them will be from W3 schools. They have a lot of tutorials, they have examples, they have playgrounds. Yes, you can just search on the internet and play with them. Today we will learn CSS, which last time we talked about. So CSS stands for cascading style sheets. You can omit the word cascading for now, but it's basically a style sheet. It's a piece of code that you write to style your web page. And so let's try to style some of our elements here. There are actually several ways of writing CSS inside an HTML document. First one is called inline CSS. For example, on every HTML tag has an attribute called style. For example, let's say I want to style this H2. Okay, I'll write here style. I will open and close my tag. Then I can write some style inside this value of this attribute. For example, I can say that color should be red. As you see, also Visual Studio Code highlights this red color, just showing us that this color is red. You can also change it here from here. That doesn't matter. You don't have to. We will talk about other colors as well. Let me open this HTML in my browser. One way of opening this HTML file inside your browser, last time we showed, like I find the file inside my file explorer and I just double click to it and it opens. The other way to open it is to create a simple HTTP server. Like if you have Python installed, you can just write Python 3 and HTTP server, and it will create an HTTP server that serves these files. For example, as you see, it started on port 800, 8000. And I can go to localhost 8000. And what's my file name is example HTML. I can click /example HTML and it will open the page again. Like this is the both way. Both are okay to open your HTML file with. Let me zoom a little bit and let's see this color. As you see, I changed the color to red here. And this color in CSS just means text color. For example, there is another property which is called background color. Background color will change the background of this H1, just like this. You can set them both together. For example, as you see, background color red, then I should have a semicolon. Then I can say color is, I don't know, blue. And it will both work in this way. I can style my whole page using this style attribute. For example, let's say body. I add a style attribute here. Like I say background color of the body is, I don't know, some light blue. This light blue color, I don't know what color it is, but it will be something like this. But it is a little bit, it becomes a little bit unreadable when you write a lot of styles. And on real web page, there are like thousands of lines of CSS code. if you write all of them like this inline on the HTML page itself, it will then become hard to read what's happening here. Now, the second way of writing CSS inside your web page, inside your HTML page, is to open a style tag. For example, here, inside the head tag, I will open a style tag here, style. And inside these style tags, I can write my CSS code. For example, I will remove this from here. I will remove this from here. Let's refresh it. Everything is back to normal. Then I can style something. For example, let's say I want to style h1 tag to have color of red. And I will write h1 color red. So this is how you write CSS inside your style attribute. This one here is called selector. Let's see CSS anatomy. How can I write? Yes. So as you see, when you write CSS, you have this stuff here. First, you have a selector. This is called selector. The reason why it's called selector, it's just you select which element you want to style. In this case, I want to style h1 element. I only have one h1 element inside my whole page. I want to change its color to blue. This color blue here with semicolon here, it's called the declaration block. And declaration block consists of property and value. Like you have predefined block properties and you have predefined values. You can also change the color. Like this left side is predefined. You don't create your own properties. CSS has there like a lot of thousands of properties. For example, let's write CSS properties in the Google. You will see that like there are a lot of stuff that you can write, like color, font size, I don't know, the grid, justify items, letter spacing. There are a lot of stuff that you can write. Then you don't have to memorize them, but you will learn them as long as you write them. And always you can just search in the Google, for example, how can I change background color of something using CSS? Then you will get a lot of results. In this way, I change the color. And this selector is called tag selector. Tag selector means that I select tags and I apply some styles to these tags. If I have, let's say, I remove this from here, I will make all of them h1, hello world, and then hello world 2, hello world 1, copy them, hello world 3, hello world 4, okay? I have 4 h1 tags inside my HTML document, and style tag says that apply color red to h1 tag. And in this way, all of my h1 tags will be colored to red because this selector is called tag selector. The other way to write, we need just to learn few selectors, 2 or 3, not all of them, because there are a lot of complicated selectors. First, we can write a class attribute here. For example, inside my h1, I will write class attribute. I will say that this should be a red colored, for example. Let's add here like red colored. I don't know. Let's add here like I don't know, blue colored. Let's say, and this one here doesn't have any class. Class attribute usually doesn't have any purpose except for CSS. In using CSS, I can select this class. For example, instead of h1, I can write here dot and red colored. Dot red colored means that select every element that have this class. How many elements have this class here? 1 and 2. If I refresh my page, you will see that only two elements here have red color. For example, I can add another style here, like blue colored. I can make it blue. And how many elements have blue colored class? Only one element. So when I refresh the page, I will have this here. And as you see, this last H1 that didn't change its color because I didn't apply any style to it. I only said that the elements that have red colored class should have red color. The elements that have blue colored class should have blue color. And I can apply this class to other elements as well. For example, let's come here and add this red colored class to paragraph tag as well. Then my paragraph tag will also be red colored. So classes are classes are used to apply. For example, I want to apply one block of style to several elements. Then I will use these classes, and to select class, I need to add dot here. Like dot red colored means that every element that has red colored class on it. For example, I can only say, for example, here h1 dot red colored. It means that only h1 elements that have red colored class on them, then paragraph will not change. If I say not h1 but all elements that have red colored on it, then we will have all elements that have red colored class will be colored red. Okay. So the main thing to understand about CSS is called a box model. Let's talk about it. Like this is the most important thing in CSS. Let's say we have any element in HTML. This can be H1, this can be UL, I don't know, this can be paragraph, this can be image, anything. Everything for CSS is just a box. Let's call it a box. Okay, let's call it box. Everything in CSS is just a box. And CSS calls it box model. And it's important thing to understand about CSS. And every box has some content in it. We will call it content. Okay. So every element have its own content. For example, H1 tag has its own content. The content is whatever I write inside this H1 tag, it's called content. And then what we have between the box itself and the content, we have a space which is called padding. For example, this place, this place, this place, and this place. They are called paddings, okay? Padding, let's say padding top, padding bottom. It's called padding bottom. Then we have here padding right. Then we will have padding left. So the place between content and the box itself, it's called the padding. And we have another spacing attribute here, which is called border. Let's add another box here. I don't know how to do this. Let's do it like this. Okay. And this place is called border. Obviously, like this place is called border. Let's also add some attributes. Let's also describe them: border top, border right, border bottom, and border right. Actually, this is called border left because this is left side. Okay, so we have content, we have padding, then we have border. After border, we have what we call margin. Okay, for example, let's say there is some element here. Let's say there is some element here, some other element. The margin is a distance between you and other elements. And margin also is the same, like margin bottom, like margin left. Then we have margin right. Then we have margin top, and that's it. So this one here is called CSS box model. Box model is just describe how all elements are like how all elements are structured. And like every element have content, padding, border, margin. Like content, padding, border, margin. Content, padding, border, margin. Content, padding, border, margin. Margin is for other elements in the document. For example, the distance between you and me, it's called margin. Distance between the content and the border, it's called padding, and the border is just border. Okay, actually, when we create an element, we can apply all of them, like all of these properties to any element. For example, I will remove everything from here. Maybe let's just create a new document here. Let's call it learning css.html. Then we will have this learning css. Okay, then I will create a new element which is called div. Div is nothing, it's just to group some elements. I can add some elements inside div to group them. But let's just skip it for now. It's just a regular element, okay? Hello, I am div. And let's call it box for some reason. You don't have to call it box, but let's call the class box. The class name, this class name is up to you. You can write anything you want. So let's add some style here. Okay. Let's actually first see what we have here, like learning css.html. So we only have this, I'm zooming it so we can see it very clearly. So we only have this text. This is just the text here, which means that div tag doesn't do anything. We just have a regular text here, okay? Let's style this div. Let's start from margin. Actually, we have margin left, margin top, margin right, and margin bottom. We can write all of them. For example, margin top, let's say margin top should be 20 pixels. It means between me and the other elements will be there will be a distance which is 20 pixels. I can have, let's margin left, I don't know, 30 pixels, margin right, I don't know, 40 pixels, margin bottom, 50 pixels. Okay, I just added this style to this element. If you want to see styles, you have to click right and right click and then inspect. Then you can select this icon from here. This is element selector. You can look at this element, and this yellow area that you see, this yellow area is called margin. Okay, so whenever I hover over it, you will see that we have like 20 pixels. How many From margin left, we have 30 pixels. Left side is 30 pixels. And from top, we have top 20, left 30, and right 40. Margin right, we have 40. Let's zoom out a little bit. Margin right, we have 40. Then margin bottom, we have 50. Okay. Then I can add, for example, border top is 1 pixel. For example, border bottom is 2 pixels. Border left is I don't know, 3 pixels. Border right is I don't know, 4 pixels, for example, something like this. In here, you will not see border, but you will see it whenever we add colors to border. Then you can come here and you can click computed here, and you will see that, for example, we have border, we have this element, we have this padding stuff, then we have this margin. You can see this box model from here. Now let's add color to the border. Let's call border color should be, I don't know, blue, border color blue. And then we should have also border style, for example, dashed. Border style will be dashed. For example, in this case, this will be our border. Like I have border top 1 pixel, border bottom is 2 pixels, border right is 4 pixels, as you see, and we have border left as 3 pixels. This is border. You can change border style. For example, you can change it to solid. Solid means just solid border. And you can change the color as well. For example, let's say blue. For example, this is it. Let's also add the padding. Then we will see then we will see the shorter version of writing all of this. This is very long. Now let's add also padding. Let's add padding. Top is 10 pixel. Padding bottom is 20 pixel. Padding left is 30 pixel. Padding right is 40 pixel, for example. In this case, this green area that you see, this is called padding. As you remember that we just talked about, the padding is between content and between border. And between border and the other elements on the page, it's called margin. Yeah, for example, margin is outside of element, then we have border, then we have padding, then we have the content of element itself. So what is the shorter way of writing this? For example, if I write padding 10 pixel, let's say, instead of writing padding top 10 pixel, I can write padding 10 pixel. It means that just apply top, left, bottom, right, everything will be 10 pixel, as you see like this. Top, left, bottom, right, all of them are 10 pixels. As a border, for example, I can add, for example, border 1 pixel. It means just border low, border top, border left, border right, all of them will be 1 pixels. Okay, something like this. It's true for margin as well. Let's add margin, I don't know, 5 pixels. Then we will have margin is 5 pixels. Then we will have 5 pixels of margin from all of the sides. Okay, let's actually, there is actually a shorter way of writing this here as well. For example, instead of writing border color and border style, I can write here, for example, border is 1 pixel, color is red, and the border style is solid, I don't know, dashed, doesn't matter. Then we can have this shorter version of this. Let's actually try to implement this margin, border, and stuff to some good-looking style. Whenever you work with CSS, you will actually have some designs. For example, let's say you are working as front-end developer somewhere. You will have some designer, and the designer will design some stuff and will give it to you, and you will convert it to this HTML and CSS elements. For example, let's open this. This is my old company that I've worked with. I don't know why I still have access to their designs, but yeah. For example, this one. Let's say I just want to create this button. Okay. I will remove. This is called one-pager PDF. Let's copy it. Okay. I will remove this here from here. I will create a button. This button text is called one-pager PDF. Let's. If I zoom it, it will be like this. I just zoom into so that we can see it clearly. This doesn't mean that this is this big button. This is big because I just zoomed it in. This doesn't have to do anything with our CSS. I will add some class to it. You don't have to, you just can write some CSS using this button tag, but maybe I will have some other buttons that have different styles. That's why I will add some class. Let's say, let's call it primary button. Okay, let's call it primary button. Primary button. And let's go to our design. Actually, let's see what they have created here. Okay. So this is the content of our button. And you can actually see the distances inside CSS. Now you can see that top and bottom paddings are 6 pixels, 6, and left and right are 18 pixels. So I can go here and I can write heading. For example, if I want to define top and bottom, I can say 8 pixels and 18 pixels. Actually, this was 6 pixels. Okay, 6 pixel and 18 pixels. This means top and bottom will be 6, left and right will be 18. If I refresh the page, you will see that my buttons just have new paddings. I don't know this button have border or not. I don't think so. I think this doesn't have border. We can actually make it like border none. Border none means that it will not have a border. Okay, as you see, the default borders that removed. But this button, as you see, like doesn't have like straight corners. This is a little bit curved. In CSS, you can achieve this using border radius. For example, they defined that border radius will be 2 pixels. As you see, we have this steep curve here, but we want to have a little bit curved border. So I can add here border radius 2 pixels. I refresh the page and you will see that we have this here. So, and then we can change the text. We can change the background color to black. Okay, background color will be black. Background color is black, but text color should be white. So we will change color to white. Okay, this is one-pager PDF. That's just the button. And this thing that you have here, this is called shadow, I think. It should be box shadow, I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's choose the button itself. They should have something called shadow here. Why they didn't show me the color of this? Yeah, I think this is the one. Yes, this is the one. I can add this, but this will be a little bit complicated for you, so we can skip it. Actually, we can. There is a property which is called box shadow. We can add some shadow to it. For example, let's say 2 pixel red, and you will see here it will be like 2 pixel bottom, 2 pixel right, and the color of the shadow will be red. but I want to have this like minus 2 pixels, then it will be to the left, not to the right. So, çok yok da bile. And the color of it will be like the shadow color will be something like this. We will talk about this color system. Let's just skip it for now. So this is our button. So as you see, this looks almost the same. We can, for example, we can add, let's see what color is actually our background here. Main. Here, this is the background color. For example, I can go to body. For example, I can select my body element. Body element will be background color of this color. So this will look almost the same. So this is our button from our designer that they gave us. So this looks the same. So here we used padding to just a little bit change the button. Then we used border none. Then we used border radius to have this curved borders. Then we used background color. Then we used color. Then we used box shadow to add this shadow to the button. Okay, let's actually talk about colors from here. Last time we actually talked a little bit about RGB. We just mentioned what RGB is. So let's look at this one, pixel. Can someone explain what is a pixel? No? So every image you see on the internet, everything that you see like in digital world, they consists of pixels. For example, in my screen of this MacBook, there are, I don't know, thousands of pixels. For example, this is just image that have low resolution. Low resolution means that we have like low number of pixels. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say they have 20 pixels here and 40 pixels here. Okay, it means we have 20 multiplied 40 total number of pixels here. If we have less number of pixels, we call them low resolution. If we have a lot of number of pixels, we call it high resolution. And each pixel here defines a color. And each pixel defines a color, and each pixel consists of 3 colors. Like every color can be created using combination of 3 colors, which is called RGB. Let's go to some color picker from here. Actually, we need something more beautiful, more understandable. Yes, this one is good. So here, let's say I have this pixel. This pixel defines like white color, like black color, some other color, black color, black color. And when we have a lot of these pixels, we actually see very clear image. And inside each pixel is defined by 3 colors. And those 3 colors are red, green, and blue. For example, I have red, I have green, and blue. Each of these red, green, and blue colors are 8 bits. 8 bits means that they can hold maximum of 255, like 2 to the power of 8 minus 1. And I can change these values. These values will be between 0 and 255. I can change these values to get different values. For example, let's say red is 0. This green is 255, blue and is 255. We will get this color. Let's change it, I don't know, 200. So red is 0, green is 200, blue is 255. We will have this color. Let's say both of them are 0, but blue is maximum, then we will have blue color. If blue is 0 and green is maximum, then we will have green color. When green, all of them are 0, red is maximum, then we will have red color. I mean red color. Maximum is 255. So every color can be created using these three colors. For example, if I have 0 for all of them, the color is black. If I have 255 for all of them, the color is white. If I have some combination of them, I don't know, 100, 60, 23, we will have some other color. You can actually change it from here. For example, this is, let's say, skin color of some nigga. So this can be created using this combination of these colors. You can use it in CSS. For example, in CSS, let's say we go to background color. I can, inside CSS, there is a function which is called RGB. And inside RGB, I can define these values. For example, red is this, green is this, and blue is this. And in this case, we will get this color. So if I refresh the page, like background color of my body is this, I don't know, this skin color. So we can also define these colors using hexadecimal notation, meaning that just convert this color to hexadecimal number, like convert this number to hexadecimal number. Let's convert it actually. Decimal to hexadecimal. If I write like decimal 242, I can convert it to hexadecimal. This will be F2. Instead of writing RGB, I can write like pound sign F2. And what is green? Green is this, D8. What is blue? Blue is this number. Blue is BD. As you see, I just converted these RGB values into hexadecimal values. Onluq sistemdən onluq sistemine. So we can write it like this. Pound sign. If you want to write this hexadecimal values, you have to define a pound sign. So this pound sign defines this R, like R, G, and B values, RGB, red, green, blue. So usually you don't pick your own colors. If you have a designer gives you the color system. For example, let's say I have this design. For example, I don't know what color is this. For example, I go to designer's document and I see that they have actually written the colors here. For example, FC, I don't know, D000, some stuff. They did it for me that I don't pick my own colors. Picking colors is not for developers, it's for designers. Okay. Anyone have any question about colors? No. Well, let's change it back to regular number. So now you know where this color comes from. FC, you don't like this color comes from this value is R and this value is G and this value is B. Like blue is, as you say, blue is 0, and I don't know what happened. And you can convert it to decimal to see like what are the values of red, green, and blue. Okay, so this is our page. What else we can talk about in CSS? The most important thing was box model and these properties like padding, border, background color, and the others. Let's actually see other design to create some. Let's see other design to create some beautiful buttons. Um, yeah, let's look at this. I want to find some interesting design that we can create. Um, um, for example, this one. Let's just, this white box, let's say that I want to create this white box. We have some inputs inside here. We have email, we have password, and we have this button, we have this link here. Let's try to create them. Um, let's, what's this called? Intro component. Let's call it sign up form, sign up form.html. I will create my HTML template here. It will be sign up. Then what we have here, let's create. So we have a, let's say we call it form. We should have a form here. Okay. Inside form, we will have 4 inputs. Okay, this I will create 4 inputs. I have 4 inputs and they have some placeholders, I think. Yeah, they have some placeholders. And first name, last name, like let's add them. First name, last name, then email address, then password, and okay, type of this input is text. So this is just text input. You will write text here. Type of this input is email, it meaning that this user is only allowed to enter email here. And type of last input is password, because user will enter their password here. And then we will have a button which is called claim your free offer. Okay, button. We can actually do it like this: claim your free trial. I will change it using CSS. Then we have this button here. I mean, we have this text here. Let's call it small. Small is just a tag that will show this text very small. And terms and services are usually a link. Whenever you click terms and services, you need to go somewhere. Let's make it a link. href to, I don't know where to send. Let's send it example HTML. Okay. So this is our document. Let's go to sign up form HTML. This is our form. Let me zoom it a little bit. Yeah, this is our form. First, all elements are I don't know. All elements are side by side. So let's first try to change them. Let's first change the background of the page. What's the background color here? Let's. I think this is the background color. This color is background. I will create a style tag here, and body and background color of the body will be this color. Okay, this color will be our body color. This is our color. There is also an image. For example, you see these images here that are repeating. You can also use them, but let's skip them for now. We only focus this part. Okay, so background color is this, and we have this form. Form should be background color white. Let's actually see what's the padding of our form. Okay, as you see here, I have 40 pixels from left, 40 pixels from top, 40 pixels from right, and 40 pixels from bottom. It means that this form element here, will have padding of 40 pixels. And it will have background color of white. background color of white. You can write white like this. FF, FF, FF. This means 255, 255, 255. So this is our form. And our form has this border radius of 10 pixels. My form has border radius of 10 pixels. And what width does it have? For example, we can say that it has a width of 540 pixels. Like width of this form is 540 pixels. You don't have to do it, but yeah, let's do it. Okay. This is our form. Everything looks fine, but yeah, we need to change this input. Let's add box shadow, then we will. I will also copy box shadow from here because they already defined the colors from here. We have box shadow 0 pixels, like 8 pixels to the right. Then we have 0 blur. Then we have this color. Yeah. And this is our form element, as you see. This is just shadow, which has this is called X offset. If I have, for example, 8 pixels here, it will be shifted 8 pixels to the right. If I have 0 pixels here, it will not be shifted to the right, only to the bottom, through the y-axis. And this is the color of the shadow. Let's have just 5-minute break, then continue designing this inputs and buttons. Okay, we continue our lecture. Before continuing, let's look at some important topic as well from CSS. As you see here, this elements does not go like they go side by side. Here should be like this should be in one line, this should be in one line, this should be in one line, and etc. But in here they are side by side. This is because in CSS there are two types of elements: inline versus block elements. Inline elements versus block elements. Inline elements, they don't occupy the whole row. Instead, they only occupy their own place. And so the next element that comes, the next element will come to the right of it. But the block elements just occupy the whole line. For example, let me add an h1 tag here, h1. Hello, I'm block. Okay, I have this h1 tag here. You will see, as you see, h1 tag occupied this whole line. Let me hover over it. You see here, this occupied the whole line. But if I hover over this one, this only occupied this is own place. So this is inline, this is block. This is inline, this is block. Why is this block element? This is predefined by your browser. For example, if you come here, like the right side of it, there is a style sheet which is called user agent style sheet, like pre-written CSS by your browser. This is called user agent style sheet. And here they say that it has some margins. For example, by default, it has some margins and it has some display block. If I hover over it, it will be, for example, input is display inline block. Input is inline block. This means this is inline element. Okay, so I can make all inputs. Let me remove it. If I make all of my inputs block elements, for example, all of inputs will be display block. It means that they should be all block elements. And in this case, they will be all like this, one to like if they will occupy the whole line like this. Even they don't have anything to do there, but they will occupy the whole line. And button, let's make the button as well. I can actually add comma here and make button. It means that all of inputs and all of buttons are display block. So it will be something like this. Okay, So this is our this is how it should be, but then what we should have, let's say that as in design, for example, this input starts from here and ends from here. It occupies the whole place. In this case, we can write here width should be 100%, like a width should be 100% of the container. In this case, they will be like this. So they will start from here and they will end there. For some reason, the button ended a little bit early, but let's see why. Button ended here, inputs didn't end here. Inputs actually didn't do something right, because as you see, button is correct, but inputs went outside of the screen line. We can fix it using this line, I believe. Box sizing is border box. I will explain this later, but let's keep it simple for now. So that they are on the same line in this case. I will talk about it at the end of the lecture. So this is almost correct, but we should have some spacing between those elements. Let's see our design and what is the spacing should be between these elements. For example, I can go here. As you see, we should have 20 pixels, like 20 pixels, 20 pixels between these two, and 20 pixels between these two as well. So I can just add margin bottom here. Margin bottom should be 20 pixels. So we have margin bottom 20 pixels, margin bottom 20 pixels, margin bottom 20 pixels, margin bottom 20 pixels, and margin bottom 20 pixels. And this is almost correct, but we should have this input should be a little bit bigger. For example, let's go here. This input have its own padding. For example, this input have 32 from left and right, 15 from top and bottom. This button, I think, as well. So let's add input should have padding of I think we don't have we only need top and bottom. Okay, padding top should be 15 pixels, padding bottom should be 15 pixels. I don't need actually left and right. I believe I don't, but let's try. Should be okay. I need left and right actually. Let's do it something like this. Padding top and bottom 15, 32 from left and right. So, like it was 32, right? Okay. Okay, this is how it will look. Okay. So then what we should do, we should just change their colors and border colors and etc. Okay, let's go to here. See what's our border color here. Border color is something like this, and background color is something like this. And okay, let's go to input. Border radius should be 5 pixels, and border should be 1 pixel. Solid, it means that it's just solid line, not dashed line, for example. And the border color will be this color. So this will be something like this. And what else do we have? What else do we need? We need to change the color of this button. Color of this button. Yes, we will have border radius of 5 pixels. I will select only button. Border radius will be 5 pixels. And we will have background color this color. Background color will be this color. And then we will have box shadow. I just copy box shadow here. You don't need to understand all of them. Okay, box shadow will be something like this. And I need to remove border itself because this looks ugly. This border is by default added by your browser, but you can remove it. So it'll be something like this. And this text color should be white. Color should be white. Color is white. And we can actually transform all of this text to uppercase using text transform uppercase. Yeah, this will be uppercase. This almost looks like there, but we have different font. That's why I don't want to talk about fonts, but I can just show you how fonts work. Okay, this works, this works, this works. Whenever I submit my input, it will work. So let's also change color of this text here. I can go here. As you see, this should be on the center. I can select this element, small element. I can select this. I can make it like text align center. It means that text should be in the center, but it didn't go to the center for some reason. Let's also make it display below. Yeah, this text align will be center. So we can change the text color. Well, let's see, text color is this. Text color is this color. I just copied the color from there. And we only need to change this A tag should have different color, okay? And this A tag should have this color. How to select this? Yes, this terms and conditions. I can select A tag and I can say that the color is this. Color is this, but we should not have this underline text here. Okay, can remove text decoration. No, text decoration underline, it means that we have underline. Text decoration none means that we should not have anything. This is just a regular link. Whenever I click it, it will redirect me to this page. Okay. Okay. This is, I think, almost done. Do we have anything else to do here? This is almost done. What else we can do here? We can change the, I think, border. We can change the text actually. Well, let's see what kind of text, like font, should we have. By default, your browser has some font here. You can go here, for example, I can go to my browser settings. Okay. I can go to appearance. I'm not sure if it's here. I can go to font. Where is the font? Okay, customize fonts. As my browser have default font, which is called custom. What's custom here? I think this is the default font for my browser. This one is the default font file for my browser. I don't know the name of it, but I can change it. For example, let's say I go to my Mac and I search for fonts, what fonts I have on my Mac. Okay. For example, you should have some font called JetBrains Mono. For example, I have a font which is called JetBrains Mono. Okay. I can set it, for example, in body, everything inside my page should have font family, should be JetBrains Mono. JetBrains Mono. Okay. And font size will be changed. Here will be JetBrains Mono. I can change it here. Let's actually change it one by one. Here and here should be okay. So I have JetBrains Mono, JetBrains Mono, JetBrains Mono, JetBrains Mono. So all of them have this JetBrains Mono font. You can change it using font family, but in here in our design, we have different font family, which is called Poppins. I don't have Poppins on my computer, so I can download it. For example, I can go to fonts.google.com, for example. I can search Poppins here. This is Poppins. I can download it, but let's pick some colors from here. Pick some fonts. Let's say regular. Let's remove actually regular, medium, and bold. I can copy it from here, like I can copy it, and I can go to my CSS, import it here, meaning that I want to use this font inside my web page without being able to, like, if I don't do it, my users should have this font on their computers, but we cannot ask users to download this font. So we imported that, we automatically download it. Okay, instead of JetBrains Mono, we will use Poppins. We will use Poppins. When I refresh the page, you will see that we'll have this Poppins here. And we can change actually font weight. For example, this font weight is 600 here. For example, for button, I can change font weight 700. It means that this will be bolder. Font weight changed. Should it be, for example, 400 means not bold, 700 means, well, bold. You can increase and decrease it and to see it. For example, in design, we also have this bold as well. Yeah. Example, A tag should also have this font weight, should also be bold, this one. And I think, yeah, this should work. What else? I think this looks nice. And there can also be some other things that can be done, but overall this looks nice and this looks almost the same as this design. Yeah. Do you have any questions regarding to this? I don't expect to understand every single line of it, but some of them like easily understandable because we discussed like paddings, background color, border radius. Like you can also set width and height. For example, here I have width. We know what is margin. We know what is block and inline. We know colors. We know font family. And yeah, this is it. What else? Yes, I want to discuss with you this first line that I put here. This is this is also selector, which is called, it should be applied to every element on the page. This is star selector. This means apply the style to everything. What does that mean? For example, let's say I have my elements content, which is 400 pixels. Okay. Let's say this content is 400 pixels. And I have padding of 50 pixels. 50 pixels from here and 50 pixels from here. What is the total width of this element? Is 400 pixels plus 50 pixels plus 50 pixels. So total is 500 pixels, right? When I change my box sizing to border, by default, box sizing is called content box. Box sizing is by default is content box. This means that whenever I set these, for example, I set this 400 pixels, then I add padding. These paddings will be added to this width. So instead of 400, I will have 500 width. If I set, I can show it to you here. Let's say, for example, let's inspect this element. For example, I set 540 pixels here. Okay. I can set here box sizing. Let's make it content box. For example, I set 540 pixels plus 40 padding. And so the width is here. What is width? Width is here, 540 plus padding. If I set my box sizing to content, not content box, but border box, it means just include padding inside your width. It will be like this. Like padding will not be added to the width, but padding will be inside this 540 pixels. So this is why we write, usually whenever front-end developers start writing CSS, they write this on the top of the page so that every element, this is easier to work with, okay? You don't have this padding problem. You don't have to calculate padding with your content width. Okay. What else? We actually thought that we have 3 ways to use CSS. One is inline CSS, for example, using style tag. The second is using style inside HTML. And third one is to create new CSS file. For example, let's create my styles.css. Okay. I can copy all of my CSS inside those files. I copy all my CSS and I paste it to this file. And instead of using style tag, I can use, if I refresh the page, you see the styles are gone because this is in different file, but I can associate this file with this file. For example, I can use a link tag. Link is a self-closing tag. I can say that this is a style sheet. This means that this link will be a style sheet. And where my style sheet is stored, this is inside my styles.css. Using this line, I can say that, okay, my styles are inside this file, so read it from that file and apply it to my page. This is same, and this is considered the best way to include CSS because like you write your HTML in one file and you write your CSS in other files, so this is more readable and more maintainable. After a few months, you will come back to your code and you will see that it is more clear, it is easy to understand, and yes, that's it. Okay, for CSS, actually, I don't have anything else to discuss about CSS. I just expect you to go home and write some HTML and write some styles. For example, the best resource for CSS is also MDN, Mozilla Developers Network, also W3 Schools. You can also come here, learn some CSS here. They have some quizzes, they have some examples, they have a lot of things. Yes. For example, you can go to, I don't know, W3 Schools, and for example, CSS, you can look at how to style tables, for example. Let's say, for example, this is our table, right? For example, this is our table that last time we a little bit talked about tables. For example, you can use, instead of using here border one, last time we did it like this, you can also style it using CSS. I say that my table and th and td should have border, and I can say that, for example, as you see, all of them has borders. For example, this one has border, this one has border, this one has borders, but they have like their own borders. We can combine those borders into one line using, for example, border collapse. Border collapse. I can run it and you will see that like those different borders are combined into one line. This is called border collapse. For example, I can add some padding. For example, TD and TH should have some padding, let's say. I don't know, 10 pixel, 5 pixels from above, 10 pixels from left and right. We can run it. You will see that we will have a little bit table that looks like something like this. There are the different styles. For example, you can have tables that only have bottom borders. Let's table style. Yeah, for example, this kind of table, whenever you can hover over it, you can have this kind of styles. And for example, in this case, for example, all of them, they don't have borders, but they only have bottom borders. You can see it here. For example, they only have border bottom. I can change it to border top and see the result. For example, in this case, the last one doesn't have border because we have border top, border top, border top, border top. You can change it to border bottom. So this looks a little bit different. Okay. So I'm trying to finalize the class, even though we have some time. So using CSS, you can do a lot of stuff. For example, you can create some animations on the web page. Let's say, even there are some people that create some crazy animations. For example, let's call CSS only animals. Species in pieces. Okay. For example, you will see here some beautiful animations that are made using only CSS. This is created using only CSS, and this has some animations. These are just some elements. These are just some elements that have applied some CSS. You can go to some other element. So we have other animal here, and it tries to swim. This is also only CSS. This is also some other animal. This is also some other animal. As you see, they have nice animations. Like there are some people that are crazy about CSS, so they create some crazy stuff. Okay. At home, try to look at some CSS tutorials from YouTube, I don't know, from W3 schools. And the next lecture, which is tomorrow, this is our last lecture. We will look at JavaScript. This is a programming language. This can be a little bit harder than HTML and CSS, but you already know Python. And for that reason, it won't be very hard. If you don't have any questions, we can finalize this lecture. If you have any questions, please give.
I have one question. At the end of this course, will we get like some kind of certificates?
This is a nice question. Even if you get, I don't think that it will be very useful, like university diploma. But I think you will get. I'm not sure what. You can ask Junay Hanım.
Yeah, like if it's possible, is it possible to get it tomorrow? Because I'm leaving on Monday. That's why I was thinking if we will get something, can we get it tomorrow or today, if it's possible?
Please ask Junay Hanım. Maybe she knows if they give. I'm not sure because.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks. Then see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is our last lecture, finally.
Yep. tomorrow,
sweet.
final class.
Goodbye.
Okay then. Yeah, bye bye.